All right. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry. We were getting ready to go here, and it looked like the system kind of went down for a minute. But hi, everyone. Sorry that we weren't able to do our live stream last week, but we're here for my PACE intro psych classes. It looks like there's a few of you getting logged in. I got everything figured out here on my end, I think. So I'm sorry that last week we had a little bit of an issue. I'm back on campus, and apparently there was a rat that chewed through one of the cables in this building. And so the internet last week was pretty awful. And to live stream, you definitely need a little bit of a decent connection. So I'm so sorry that we weren't able to do a live stream last week, but I hope that many of you did watch the recording that I posted last week, and many of you still did the extra credit question, which is fantastic. So I see a bunch of you getting logged in and putting your names in the chat. Can someone let me know? Are you able to hear me and see me okay on your end? I'm just going to wait just a moment. Hopefully you can hear and see me just fine. If someone could let me know, that would be great. I'm in my office at school, so you get a little bit of a different background today. Okay, perfect. I'm glad to hear it. So that's fantastic. Again, I'm so sorry that we weren't able to do that last week, but I'm glad that many of you still watched my video and were able to get that done. So our plan for today, we are in week number 7. We are getting very, very close to the end of our short class. So I want to go over the reminders for weeks number 7 and 8 and a little bit of feedback from the previous 2 weeks that we had. I will give you our extra credits question and then a couple of reminders related to our last live stream next week and when the class officially ends. So that is our plan for today. And thank you so much for those of you who are joining me. I know we have a slightly different time this week. Since all my classes went back in person, I had to move things around a little bit. So I'm glad some of you are still with me, and we'll make the best of it. Let's go ahead and head over to Canvas together. And as I said, as of Monday morning, we are in week number 7. So we are now in the last fourth of our class. We have weeks number 7 and week number 8. So the last 2 weeks, let's go back and look just really quickly at some of the feedback from weeks 5 and 6, and then we can talk about the reminders for this week. So if I go back to week number 5, go, discussions number 9 and 10. Again, most of you are doing a fantastic job on these discussions. I feel like a lot of you have really figured out what it is that I'm looking for, which is fantastic, especially as we near the last fourth of the class. But really nicely done on this one. I enjoyed reading all of the fad diets that so many of you have done, and the advantages and disadvantages, and then what role you think the media plays. Most of you got full points on this. A few of you lost a couple points for not giving me enough information, but for the most part, a lot of you did a beautiful job. Most of you were replying to a classmate. I didn't have a whole lot of feedback for you on this one other than a couple of people not giving me quite enough information, but overall, discussion number 5, really nicely done. I'm sorry, discussion number 9. Discussion number 10 for the last 2 weeks. Wonderful job. A lot of you did a great job describing an emotional event and the different chain of events that happened in terms of those 3 different theories. A couple of you only described it from one of the 3 theories, and so obviously you lost some points from that. But most of you went through all 3 of the theories. You talked about the chain of events. You identified some of the ways to spot a lie. Overall, really, really nicely done. And the bonus question, I sent this out in the email that I went out last night, when it was a little later than normal because we had Monday was a holiday, but a lot of you correctly identified the lie in the 2 truths and a lie. And I'm trying to remember, I sent it out to you. Let me just pull this up really quickly here while I have you with me. I wrote it all out and then I forgot what I sent out. So let me just bring this up. Okay. So as I said in the video here, where did I post it? Discussion number 10. So the lies that I put on there, I did once crochet an entire blanket. It was actually very romantic of me. I crocheted a blanket and it took me months to do. I still have it. It's like brown and blue and it turned out really, really cool. And I do have 2 brothers, but I have never been to Africa. And I sandwiched that in there in the middle, hoping that I wouldn't smile too much as a part of it. But a lot of you guessed that I had never crocheted a blanket. I don't think I look like someone who crochets necessarily, but I have done that. You knew it. Okay, good. But I have never been to Africa. I would love to go one day, but I have never been. And so that was the lie. It was just for fun. I practiced way too much, but that was my one lie. So overall, again, on this one, really nicely done, though a few of you forgot to explain from all three theories. That was the number one reason people lost points. Otherwise, really, really nicely done. I'm glad you got it. I'm glad you got it correct. Two more discussions that we had. We had discussion number 11 and 12. Again, really nicely done for the most part. On 11, I enjoyed your reactions to the country songs. You got your country fix for the week if you're not a big country fan, but really nicely done listening to the songs and identifying those components. A lot of you took pictures of cards, which I absolutely love that so many of you included images of cards in your post. Really nicely done. For the most part, most of you said if you had to be stuck at an age the rest of your life, the most common range was between 21 and 27. So a lot of you picked ages in the 20s, which is pretty typical. Not very many people picked younger or much older. And again, overall, really nicely done. The biggest reason people lost points on this one was just not elaborating enough on the lyrics from the songs. I really wanted you to give me specific lyrics, and then maybe not giving me enough detail on the cards. But for the most part, really nicely done on discussion 11 as well. And then finally on discussion number 12, as I pull this up here, most of you did a great job here as well, and hopefully you enjoyed taking one of the random personality tests. A lot of you took one of them that was just for fun, but then you also took one of the better ones as well, which I think is fantastic that you took more than one of them. Great job describing yourself in 5 words and asking other people what they thought. A few of you had some funny comments about the differences between your reactions and then the people in your life. But for the most part, a lot of you had a lot of overlap with the people that you asked, which is fantastic that they were very congruent. So overall, in the discussions, really, really nicely done. A lot of you have just really just done a beautiful job on these discussions throughout the semester. Don't forget to continue replying to a classmate. A few of you are still forgetting that peer response, and it is worth 2 points. So you definitely want to make sure that you're getting that every single week. The discussion was also, I'm sorry, the exam was also quite well done. A lot of you got A's on the test. Really, really impressive. I sent out the statistics yesterday. So if I just bring that up again really quickly on the exam, the average test time was 61 minutes. The average score was 87%. So just shy of an A for the most part. A lot of A's, a lot of B's on the test. Most of you clearly had plenty of time. The high score was 100% and the low score was a 42%. So a little bit of a range, but most of you are doing a great job. Continue to use the exams as a learning opportunity. We do have one last exam to go in this final unit, and so you obviously want to make sure that you're doing as good as you can on it. But most of you are doing great. A lot of A's. Makes me so happy to see so many of you doing so well. So that's fantastic. And then we move on from our last 2 weeks into weeks 7 and 8. So let's go back for a moment and open up the syllabus just so we can take that snapshot look that I think tends to be kind of helpful. But are there any, before I move forward, let's see, are there any questions or thoughts or comments or anything about the last 2 weeks before we move on to weeks 7 and 8, our last 2 weeks of the semester? Hard to believe that our class is almost over. It's gone so quickly. But any questions at all about the last 2 weeks before we talk about weeks 7 and 8? I'll wait just a moment while you're to see if you have anything. All right, you're usually about 20 seconds or so behind me, so just to make sure. But if you think of anything, feel free to put it in the chat. Otherwise, as I said, we move into weeks number 7 and 8 as of this Monday morning. So we have our final assignments. So we have chapters 13 and 14 are our focus for this week, which are stress and health, and then the disorders. Then we also have discussions 13 and 14 this week. And week number 8 has also opened up. So our last 2 topics, which we'll cover next week in our final stream, Our chapters 15 and 16 on therapy and social psych. We also have the last two discussions next week, exam number 4, and then the closing assignment. So I want to point out that all of the materials for our class are due by Sunday, 3/6 at 11:59 p.m. So I'm going to put this here in the chat. Our class officially ends on Sunday, 3/6 at 11:59 p.m. So you want to make sure that everything is turned in by that deadline. Once the class ends, it will be very, very difficult for you to turn anything in just because there's a very short turnaround for when grades are due. So just make sure that you're being really mindful of our timing. Everything is due by next Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. So let's go back and talk about the materials for this week. And then on our last live stream next week, I'll talk about the closing assignment and exam number 4 and make sure that you're feeling good about those last 2 requirements. But for this week, we are in week number 7. So let's scroll down and take a look at week number 7 together. This week, we are covering the topics of stress and health, and then also psychological disorders, 2 of the more like core topics again of this course. So make sure that you read chapter 13 and 14 in the ebook. As always, that's probably your first order of business. And then you're going to want to read through the lectures and watch the lecture videos. So the chapter 13 lecture, as always, the first page is your summary, so you can read through that or listen to it. You have the Beyond the Book. I have a little video that I made here about how stress affects the body, which might be really helpful for the discussion this week. And then there's a little bit about complementary and alternative medicines and stress and different types of personality. There's a couple of in pop culture links, things that are related to stress and PTSD and so on. Hi Mia, welcome. No, you're not too late. You can always go back and watch the first part if you missed it. Here are all the key terms from chapter 13 that you need to know. And then finally on the last page, I have a couple of fun guided relaxation exercises that I linked out. Something that again you'll be working on for the discussion this week, so those will come back. So make sure you click on all the links, explore anything that I shared with you. You'll also want to watch the chapter 13 lecture video. It's a Zoom link, so make sure you click on that, and then you can, of course, take notes, pay attention. Those materials will appear on the exam, so you're going to want to make sure that you pay attention to that. You also have chapter 14, so read chapter 14 in the ebook. And then go through the lecture. First page is summary, kind of going over an overview of all the disorders we'll cover. Beyond the book, there are so many interesting things related to this topic. So I made a little video here about the models of abnormality, which is kind of a quick little review. There's some information about disorders of childhood and aging, and then psychosomatic disorders. Lots and lots of movies and TV shows related to the different mental illnesses and disorders. So I gave you kind of a list of some fun ones and some TV shows and a couple of books. Here are all the key terms that you need to know for chapter 14 for the next exam. And then finally on the application page, I gave you a little bit about suicidality and getting help for some suicidality that, you might, if you see any signs or symptoms of that, things that might be helpful. So make sure that you click on all those links. Again, watch any videos that I include. And then you'll, of course, want to watch the chapter 14 lecture video. Again, a Zoom link. So you can click on that, take notes, pay attention. The materials on there will definitely appear on our final exam, our last and 4th exam that will pop up for you next week. So you do have 2 discussions this week, like always, and then a Twitch extra credit question. So let's take a look at the 2 discussions that you have for this week. Discussion number 13 is all about stress and health. And so what you'll be doing is you'll be completing a relaxation exercise. I posted my favorite one for you right here. This is my favorite of all time. It is a walk through the forest, a visualization exercise. You also can go to this website and pick one on there, or if you have a favorite one that you like to do, you can share that with me. I would love it. But make sure, that you complete one of the guided relaxation exercises. And then you're also going to read these little stress articles that I have on here about how stress affects the body. Now, once you've done all of that, you'll answer the following 3 questions. Which exercise did you complete? How did it go? How did you feel before and after? Did you struggle? Don't feel bad if you did struggle. It can be a little bit of time to practice these and get good at them. And then you're going to comment on why are deep breathing, meditation, and other relaxation exercises helpful for reducing stress? In other words, how do they specifically affect the mind and the body? So you're going to want to make sure to highlight that. And then how do you personally cope with your stress? So I did make a little video for you up here where I went over that information a little bit. Remember, it's worth 15 points as always, 13 for responding to my questions, and then 2 for responding to a classmate. You also have discussion number 14 this week, so let's take a look at that one together. Discussion number 14 is related to the different disorders that we're covering this week. So as always, I have a little video for you. Feel free to watch that. I tried to introduce it. And then you're going to be reading a little excerpt from a book. Now, this book is very old, but it's still very relevant and interesting. It's a book called The Myth of Mental Illness by Thomas Szasz. And so if you click on this, it will bring up that short excerpt. You can also listen to it if you would like. Here's the audio. But you can listen to this or read it. It's all about a very different perspective on mental illness. So we talked about the main perspective in the lecture, but Szasz argued that mental illness is a myth. And I think it's really interesting and important to get that counter perspective. So that's what you'll be looking at this week. You're going to summarize his main ideas. What are some of the reasons he presents as support for his claims of calling mental illness a myth? Do you agree with him? Why or why not? Maybe you agree with some of it or all of it, or you violently disagree. I look forward to hearing your reactions. And then, do diagnoses stigmatize people? In other words, in what ways might a diagnosis help or hinder an individual? So you're going to respond to all that. When you're ready, you'll hit reply. And then, of course, don't forget to reply to a classmate to get those 2 points of credit. So those are your kind of typical things, like always for this week: 2 chapters to read in the ebook, 2 lectures, 2 lecture videos, 2 discussions, and then when we're done today, I will post a recording, post this recording up here for you if you wanted to watch it later. But those are the big things to work on for this week. Week number 8 is open for you. So if you wanted to work ahead and look at chapters 15 and 16, discussions 15 and 16, the closing assignment, and the final exam, you are welcome to do so. But I will cover all those materials next week on our last Zoom that we will have. So are there any questions that any of you have for me? I do have several reminders to give you. So let me work on giving you those in the chat. The first one is almost all of you have fallen off of your subscription. So if you could take a moment and resubscribe for free one last time, I would really appreciate it. So Mia, for example, yours is just the crown, so you need to go back and resubscribe. Same thing with Hey Mo7, Jackie, yours is as well. And so if you have a moment to go back and resubscribe for free, it definitely makes my life way easier. So please take a moment to do that. You just click on that purple drop-down menu on my Psyched with Setmire Twitch page, and then you can resubscribe for 30 days. And that will allow me to download your name for these last couple of weeks. And again, it saves me so much time. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for those of you who do this every month, so that I don't have to look you up manually. So thank you so much. Oh, look at you just did it. Thank you. Look at Mia, you were on it. Thank you, Mia, for figuring that out. Again, don't ever pay for this, but if your subscription has expired, you no longer have the football cake next to your name, I really appreciate you figuring that out for me. The last thing to remind you here, our next and last Twitch live stream, wow, I cannot type today, will be on Wednesday next week. Wednesday, so let me just get the date here. So it will be on Wednesday, March 2nd, Wednesday 3/2. Okay. Sorry, I'm just putting this in my calendar. Wednesday 3/2 at 12 o'clock p.m., just like today. So that will be our last Twitch live stream, same day and time as today. So we will do one last one. I'll go over the final exam, exam number 4, and then I'll also go over the closing assignment so that you know exactly what to do and what is expected of you. So that will be next Wednesday at 12 o'clock. And that will be our last one for the semester. So I hope you're all able to make it for that. The last thing I have to give you is the extra credit question for today. So I'm going to copy and paste that here into the chat. So our extra credit question for this week's discussion and this week's Twitch is what does DSM stand for, and what edition are we currently in? So what does DSM stand for, and what edition are we currently in? So as soon as you're ready, we'll go back to Canvas, and we're in week number 7. So you'll click on Twitch extra credit number 7. Up here at the top, you'll click on Start Assignment, and that will allow you to type your response in the text box below, hit submit, and confetti burst. Nothing else in the confetti today, just confetti. But that is due before next Sunday night, March 6th at 11:59 p.m. So you want to make sure that you're getting those 2 points. You can do it this week and next week for those last 4 points of extra credit. So hopefully you are working on that and getting all of those opportunities in. So again, for this week, just a couple of last reminders here. We are in weeks 7 and 8, so make sure that you are really mindful of the fact that the class does end after these 2 weeks. It ends on Sunday night, March 6th at 11:59 p.m. So for this week, make sure you read chapters 13 and 14 in the ebook, complete the lectures and lecture videos, discussions 13 and 14, the extra credit that I just gave you, and then I will post that recording within the next couple of hours. And week number 8 is open if you want to get started, but I will go over with that with you next week. So I think those are all the reminders that I have for you. Again, if you have the chance, please take a moment to renew that subscription one last time so that I can mark down that you are here. But otherwise, are there any questions for me about the materials for this week, about anything from the last couple of weeks, our final, any of that kind of stuff? I'm going to put this in the chat here. Any questions, comments, thoughts at all? Anything I can answer for you while you have me here live? Otherwise, as I said, we will have our next live stream next Wednesday morning, or Wednesday at noon, I should say. I'm going to put that in my calendar while I'm waiting for all of you to see if you have any questions for me. And as I said, that will be the last one. So last chance, and I will go over all those materials that are due next week, and make sure there are any questions about the final or any of those materials that we have coming up. So if you have any questions, I will hang out for a little bit. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful week. It was so nice to have an extra day off. I don't remember if I told you or not. We went to Las Vegas, and my kids had a wonderful time seeing Blue Man Group and getting to see the Bellagio fountains. My daughter rode her first upside down roller coaster. So it was a fun trip. I hope some of you had a chance to do something fun and relaxing as well and enjoy this freezing cold weather that we have right now. But I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful week. I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out for a little while if you have any questions for me. Otherwise, get going on the materials that we have for this week and next week. And I will see you all for our last Twitch live stream next Wednesday at noon. Thank you so much for joining me, those of you who were here with me live. I love it. Thank you so much. And I will hope to see you one last time next week. Okay, great. Thank you, Paula. Thank you for adding me. Thank you, Monica. Thanks for putting it in there. And if you have a chance to try and figure out the subscription, that'd be great since yours has expired. And oh my goodness, I got the time totally wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm going to post this on Canvas. Our Twitch live stream next week is on Tuesday at 10 o'clock. I'm so sorry that I messed it up. Yeah, don't worry so much about the formatting for that. As long as you have it all there, it's fine. It can be single spaced or it can be double spaced. It is a little bit more of like a special formatting more than an essay. So I think I saw my capture up here. Let me show you. If you go to, this is what the closing sample submission looks like right here. And so if you open this up, what you can see is that you're listing the term and then you're defining it and then write about a paragraph about whatever term that you picked and how you could apply it to your life. So it is a little bit more of like a list format than a traditional paper. So try and follow that formatting, but whether it's double or single or double space doesn't matter too much. And again, I'm going to put this in the chat. I'm so sorry for those of you who are watching our live stream next week. I was looking at the wrong class. There's so much it's been a weird week, you know, when you miss a day it's like everything is off. But our live stream next week is on Tuesday 3/1 at 10 o'clock a.m. So I'm so sorry for that. I messed that up a little bit and I will post it again on Canvas, and so hopefully I don't confuse anyone too badly. And you're welcome. Oh, no worries. I'm glad you see it now. I tried to give you a sample so you knew what it looked like. All right, everyone, if you think of any questions, feel free to email me. Otherwise, it looks like I think I'm the only one in here. So I'm going to close this up so I can start the download and upload. But if you think of anything, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, have a wonderful, wonderful week. Yeah, you too. Thank you. Thank you as well.